Welcome back to part 2 of this very interesting episode with the very creative fashion photographer Benjamin Kanarek. And in this episode, we dive more into some interesting shoots and some more insights into the business and the industry and what to do and what not to do for magazines and more into Ben's work. So welcome back to part 2 and plug your ears in for some more interesting and fun stuff with me and Jake.
Oh, that's interesting, Jake. When I have my retoucher, who is amazing, she just did the cover of with Sharon Stone for Harpers Bazaar. We want no retouching. Yeah. Literally, we if you look at close-ups of there is retouching, but you need to see skin. You need to feel
skin.
Texture,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
texture. I mean, anything that's. I mean, there are so many retouch artists who are soliciting me. I kid you not. It's like at least 10 a week. And 9 times out of 10, they're just painted. It's like, you might as well.
Plastic.
It's so plastic. It's horrible. Yeah. I mean, and then there are all these horrible, we won't go into, oh my God, we don't want to go there with, oh God, oh my God, oh, some of the photography out there. Oh my God. I do have some advice for photographers out there who want to get into my métier. It's very simple. It's very simple. I remember I was being interviewed for a radio podcast. This guy was interviewing me from somewhere in the Midwest. And I told the guy, I said, look, you have no chance in hell of going anywhere. You can't do anything where you are. It's impossible. You'll never get anywhere. He said, why? I said, well, because you don't have any of the talent to draw from. You can't get the creme de la creme. If you want the creme de la creme, you go to London or you go to Milan, or you go to New York, or you go to Paris. That being, so I said to the kid, I said, listen very closely. I said, do you know how to press the shutter on your camera? He said, yeah. Do you know how to focus? He says, yeah. And now when you press the shutter, why are you pressing the shutter? He says, well, I think the time's right. I said, that's perfect. That's all I want you to do. It's okay. You're going to press the shutter when you feel the time is right. Now I'm going to take a crane and I'm going to lift you up from the head. I'm going to pull you from your town in Des Moines, Iowa. Des Moines, Iowa. That's right. Pull him, drag him, and drop him into Paris. Now, I want you to do nothing. I don't want you to say a word. I don't want you to give me your opinion because it's worthless. Nothing you say is of any significance. It's horribly belligerent and true. Don't say a word. I just want you to take a picture. Now, I'm going to do a casting for you. We're going to find a model that's either with Elite or with Ford or with Storm or with Select or Premium. And if that girl is with that agency, then obviously she's good enough because she's with that agency. Because they only have 30 or 40 girls. You're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of girls around the world. And you're talking about the average agency of repute that have a great reputation having no more than 100 girls. I mean, no more. So you could close your eyes and, Well, because it's so subjective. The Uggo look is happening where we don't want anyone looks pretty. They have to have huge ears, huge nose.
Gap teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And you wouldn't look twice at them. And that's happening if you're shooting for ID or Face or whatever, or whatever other kind of cutting edge magazine like Spoon or whatever. So anyways, my point being is this. We do our casting. We have a theme. The theme, we'll call it white. So everything will be white. White clothes, white background. Everything will be white. So we have a stylist who chooses we get a great stylist who's worked for, Bazaar and Numero and Style or whatever. And she'll start pulling looks for the shoot. Then we'll get a great hairstylist, Benoit Pizjuan, or maybe I'll get a makeup artist like Topolino, who shot with Madonna. He shot with Madonna. He shot with Michael Jackson, blah, blah, blah. Then we'll get a great manicurist, and we'll get her set up for the first shot. There will be 8 looks. You do not tell the model to do anything. Don't you dare tell her. You don't tell her to pose. You
No
tell
direction.
her no direction. You say it's a white story. How does that make you feel? Just give me what.
I'm cringy, man.
You do not have her pose. You don't tell her anything because, number one, she has worked for Bazaar, ELLE, Grazia, Vogue, and you just came from Bumwad somewhere in the Midwest, and so all you need to do now is when she's in front of you, when you get that fibrillation in your solar plexus, where it starts to vibrate, and this is where I feel I got to take the picture. That is who you are as a creative individual. That moment in time that you press that shutter makes you unique. No other person in the world will be able to do what you just did at that moment in time, because it is at that moment in time that you had that connection with the model. And I can guarantee you, after the day of shooting, we'll do our selects, we'll send it to the magazine, it will be published, and it will look as good as what I do.
Find what I think I'm seeing from certain young people at the moment is they're not adding enough of themselves. So they have a great location, they have a great model, they have a great stylist, a great makeup, a great hair, and they stand there and they press the button. What is it that you've done? What have you done, really? Now, I hear what you're saying about, there's this certain moment you've chosen to take that picture at that certain time, but sometimes I just feel that people are just not adding enough of themselves.
Okay, so Jake,
personally.
Well, no, that is, guess what? That not enough of themselves is exactly what they're giving you. I know that sounds weird. That is what they're giving you. That is a perfect mirroring and representation of the social fabric or that psychological profile of that individual at that moment in time, and that is pathetic. We are in a creative dark age right now. We are in a creative. Listen to this. Okay. I could take 50 photographers. Let's back up a second. Richard Avedon would have his assistant. He would shoot with one umbrella, and he would have his assistant hold on to the umbrella and the power pack and walk around the model as Richard would rotate around the model. He would move the light around the girl. And that is all he used, Richard Avedon, was a single source light.
Magical one light, Jake. Magical one light.
Okay?
Don't. I feel sick. Don't.
I will take 50 photographers, talk about a cross-section of the psychology of the individual, shoot the same model, and you'll have very timid people pulling back and feeling intimidated, very introverted, and it will show in the image they take. Then you'll have a real in-your-face, balls to the wall, in your face, right up into the girl's ear, where she shoots the girl's earlobe with her nose out of focus, and then that'll say something of that. The same model, the same set, the same lighting, the single source light, and every single individual photographer will look different. Not one image will look the same. You could identify the personality of that photographer from the photos. Everything you listen to very closely, everything you repress, everything you express, everything you don't want to express, everything you're consciously aware of or not consciously aware of, everything you say to yourself while you're shooting, like, oh, this sucks, I need to be cooler, that's going to speak very loudly. Everything you do in the outcome of that image will say who you are. And that's where I'm still learning. That's where I'm still saying, are you being honest, Benjamin? Or are you just a pure formalist? or what?
But that's my point as well. Like you're saying, you put 50 photographers in a room and you're saying, again, going to get somebody shooting the earlobe and that sort of thing. And I hope that you're right. I really do hope that you're right. And my concern is at the moment that there's a generation where it would all be perfectly exposed, perfectly in focus, great white balance, great, technically, strong composition, but there's not enough of that individual. I imagine putting that model in a room and giving 50 artists a notebook and a pencil. How different do you think those 50 drawings would be? They'd be hugely different, but put 50 photographers in a room and we are so beholden to the technology in our hands and our preconceived idea of what we think is technically perfect, that gets in the way of actual creativity now.
You're doing the workshop, so you would know that better than I do. So that's what you're telling me. That's what's happening.
I feel that we are getting to a point where we're so technically perfect, so accurate, so precise with everything that we're doing that it's that it's taking out any sort of individual look. You told us about a story right at the start that you had, like your second ever shoot, and you had a mix of ambient light and flashlight and that sort of thing, and like you joked about the images being the worst that you'd ever seen, but at the same time, at least they had something going on in them that was different to them, like they had a visual difference. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, you understand? Hey, listen, I got to tell you something. I'm so happy I didn't assist anybody ever, nor did I study, because I got to where I got to by trial and error.
Okay,
but getting back to what Jake...
Making mistakes. Now,
Jake, what you're saying is interesting.
Well, people aren't seeing them either, Jake, are they? We've said this on social media before when we do workshops or training. People don't want to see the mistakes anymore. They just want to see where they put the lights, take the shot, and see the end result. That's all they want to know now. They don't want to learn how to get there. Yeah.
Technology is taking away those mistakes. Yeah. That's what I have.
It kills me. There's. Let me tell you a story quickly. There's a great art director. His name is Jacques-Michel Verger, and he was the art director for the iconic yet defunct magazine called Depeche Mode, and the likes of de Marchelier and Peter Lindbergh shot for, and I had the privilege of shooting for. And I remember one day Jacques saw my shoot that I did for them, which was with Helena Christensen, the model. And he looked at the image and he said the following. He said, "Benjamin, when you think you're in too close, come in close." And that never escaped. I never forgot that. And so sometimes I will intentionally just cut the top of the head off. And people, I get some people on the forums go, "Hey, you cut her head off. Why'd you do it?"
I know, but it made you talk about it though, didn't it? If I hadn't cut the head off, you wouldn't have typed anything. So welcome to the 21st century, my friend.
It's called stopping power. It's called stopping power. I mean, you're going through so many images. You need something to stop it, whether you turn it upside down or make it look, whatever you do to make it takes. Interesting. I get very bored very quickly with my work. And that's one of my problems, because I think one of my major foibles as a photographer is people have often asked, "Well, Ben, you do 3 or 4 different things. I don't know really who you are." And I said, well, this is who I am at the moment in time that I did it, because I was very bored with me continually doing this. So I will do like X amount of studio shoots, and they'll go, "Fuck it, I want to break away from that." Or I will, like, for example, in just choosing, do I stick a cup of, do I take a glass and stick it in front of my lens, and do I induce flare because it's going to look cool? I want to rough up my images. So a lot of people have. I remember Taj Jackson, Michael Jackson's nephew from the 3T, was in Paris, and he was invited to my shoot, and I said, "Do something. You're standing behind me. You look like a groupie." And so I had him. He's a good friend of mine. So I had him hold the glass in front of the lens for me as I was shooting the shoot I was doing with a really cool British model. She's really cute, from Cornwall.
That's both mine and Jake's home county.
Oh, cool. Well, okay.
Get that.
Yeah, Grazia.
She did well. My God, there's another one that got out.
Another one escaped.
Some of the greatest models in the world have come from the UK, and some of the greatest photographers. Nick Knight, for one, of course. So, I mean, Jake, it's really difficult to say what one can do. I think what they're doing is what they're doing, and they're probably doing it better than I am. I think because...
Well, you're seeing it in your assistants. You said you're looking at their Instagram and that sort of thing. What are you, like, that's literally the brand new generation of shooters coming along. Like, what are you seeing from your assistants' work? Like, is there a vibe that you're getting?
The vibe you described, and that is lazy. Okay. I just want to take the picture.
Yeah, short term end result.
Right.
Are you seeing them, like we've said before, Ben? Like they're sort of technically, as in the craft of photography itself, technically more inadequate, but on the flip side, creatively they're having these new generation ideas where they're creating these kind of images. But do you think they're also at that stage where they don't know how they're getting them either, like you experienced back in the 80s?
No, I think no. I think they know how to use continuous light. I think what they're doing today is they're picking up a continuous light source, neon lights or something like from Amazon for $40 or $80, and they stick them up and they take, they push their ISO to 800, and they don't give a shit. It's being seen on a screen that's the size of your kneecap. But then again, that's okay. Look, I did a shoot once for Franco Sozzani. I shot in Milano for Vogue Italia. And I really fucked everyone up because I showed up with 120 boxes of ejectable Fuji, ejectable cardboard cameras, and
disposable cameras.
And the lens was a fixed plastic f11. So I really wanted shitty. I wanted it to make
Don't knock it, man. It works for my mum. She loves those things.
Check this out. And they all had a.
I knew she was on trend. I knew it.
So, I'm using disposable cameras. I showed up with this huge shopping bag, and the editor went, "What is this?" I said, "It's my film." They said, "You're shooting with disposable cameras?" I said, "Yeah, trust me." So what I did...
Famous last words.
Famous last words. So, they had the little flash on the side. So I knew it was an f11 lens with an ISO of 400. So I stuck a sensor on. My assistant taped a sensor on the flash.
Right.
Okay. We attached it to the actual broncolor flashes. Yeah. So, and so we metered it for 400 ASA. We needed f11 and we shot at f11 and it was all good. But the outcome was brutally, lo-fi, and they loved it. And it was like a 12-page story.
When did you do that?
Wow.
Oh, man, you're so ahead of the curve, honestly. You're all over it. Trendsetter.
But I gave my daughter a couple. I mean, I used to be, this is really weird. I used to be, in the early 90s, sponsored by Fuji Film. So, I mean, they would send me whatever I wanted. I never paid for it. So I had shitload of medium format. Because I had the Fuji Film 680, the one that great camera. Yeah, so because I used to do a lot of cross processing, E6 to C41.
Yeah, same.
So that's a story I got to share with you, but just very briefly, because I had no education, there were all these really snobby graduates of Ryerson Polytechnic School who got their 4-year degree, Bachelor's of Fine Arts degrees in photography, but they ended up working in camera stores. And I remember walking into a camera store and I wanted to do my own development of E6 to E6. But they started laughing between each other and going, "Let's really fuck this guy up." So they gave me the chemicals
C41
for going, yes, exactly. So check this. This is a God's truth. I don't know. I guess I could say after 7 years after the fact, I was kind of famous and I was being seen in all the major magazines with that effect. I remember walking back into the camera store. I swear to God, the same two guys were there. And I walked right up to them and I said, "I want to thank you." And the guy, "What? Thank you for what?" "The best bad advice I ever gotten in my whole life." They said, "What was that?" I said, "Hello, my name's Benjamin Kanarek." And all I had to say was Benjamin Kanarek, and the guy hit his jaw went, because they had just seen my last story in L'Officiel magazine, which was a C41. And so he said, "What?" I said, "Well, you told me to use this chemical for," and so that was
to screw you up, even though it made you famous.
So you were, so you were cross processing the images
myself.
Yeah, by accident / on purpose.
No, Jake. Jake, it was by accident, and I loved the way. And then I learned a lot about it.
It does. It looks a beautiful look. I absolutely love the look.
But you can't shoot it with 35 film because it's too small. There's too much light bleed. You lose a lot of detail. It burns like crazy. The minimum size for E6 to C41 should be 6x645. But 6.7 is better, and of course 4.5. But.
Okay. It's just we mentioned a couple of big names like Avedon and Nick Knight, and and there are also people like David Bailey and Mary Testino and that sort of thing. They're huge names, and they're also like household names, and they have been. But the new generation coming along, we're seeing a lot of people rise up, and again, like we're not seeing as many standout names. Do you think that we'll have a point in the future where we'll have another David Bailey or another Testino? Do you think we will have household names?
Jake, you have Boo George, who is a British photographer. He's amazing. I thought, where the hell did he come from? Boom.
But do you think they will last as long as the household names that we've got now? Because
they were big, like huge.
They'll last as long. They will last as long as the famous for being well-known phenomena that we have today. In other words, there'll be a flash in the pan.
Yeah,
I think that's what's really scary. I guess you have The Voice in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Program The Voice. What those poor singers don't know, but the producers do know.
Yeah,
they do know that is their fame at that moment in time, and it's over.
That's their peak, isn't it?
That is it. That is their peak, and that. And the producers have known it. They can. It's basically, we have a school. This is our school. The students come in and they do their spiel, their shtick, and it's over. Well, it's the same thing. The only reason I'm able to get above that is because I've kind of reached, from a marketing standpoint, because of also my partner who was the marketing media director for the world for Jean-Paul Gaultier, Issey Miyake, and Narciso Rodriguez perfumes. She was responsible for 80 to 100 million euros of advertising revenue. She understood all of the important elements in marketing to succeed. I wrote an article on my blog called Talent, and I use a scoreboard, and the score said marketing 98%, talent 2%. It's like we all have talent. I believe every individual in the world, unless there's some banker who was born with a pencil up his, we all have talent, and we all have a means of expressing ourselves today. It's become really democratized. Everyone has a phone. Now, some people rise and some people don't. I do believe, however, regardless of how many iPhones are around or how many cameras are about, that even those who rose in the 50s and 40s and 30s and 80s, the same criterion for them rising exists today. I believe that the best, the creme de la creme, will rise to the surface. Now, your question to me was, well, how will they do that today? Well, I'm going to tell you something. They know how to drive through that minefield a hell of a lot better than we do. I mean, they know what they're doing. I mean, I have an assistant who's like 18 years old, and she's at the Paris College of Art, and she's already starting to shoot lookbooks. Why? Because she's young and she's pretty and she owns a camera. And she has a camera that looks more impressive than an iPhone. So she, it's pretty scary, Jake.
Yeah, very.
It is. No, it is. I mean, and I don't know. Maybe it is a bad thing. Maybe it isn't. I mean, like before we had these huge pinnacle names, and maybe there's just more room for more people to occupy that middle ground, and just certain people be famous in certain genres, and maybe we won't have any more household names in photography anymore. It's that is a shame. Yeah, maybe it will just be artists.
Jake, what would you prefer? What would you like to see? You seem a bit bitter, and I can understand that. So Maya.
Yeah, no, not at all. Because on one hand, I think that it's great that I think more people have the opportunity to succeed than than before. You know, I think years gone by, there would be like a small handful of these top big name shooters who would get all jobs, and you know, and now I think that we don't have as much as that. I think there are more photographers that are able to see some success than before. But conversely, I don't think that we'll have those big pinnacle names that will stand out as artists in a household name. So you know, there's pluses and minuses.
We have a problem though. We have a big problem, and that is we have a smaller pie, i.e.
less clients as well.
Exactly. Or the clients who go, well, screw it, I can put a little studio in my back room and we'll stick our products, because we just buy a couple of lights off of Amazon, which are putting out 300 watts or 500 watts, and they'll buy themselves a little Canon EOS whatever or Nikon 5500 and just take the snap.
Get the intern to shoot it in the lunch break. Yeah.
But like we're seeing that in every industry, especially when we're trying to cut corners at the moment. But you know, even in huge brands, I'm seeing images that are good enough, not excellent, and good enough. And good enough at the moment is acceptable now, and it's that's painful to see. I mean, you know, you can walk around anywhere. I was walking around the supermarket, and you got these huge billboards for one of the largest supermarkets in the world, and they're just terrible images, just cut out, badly colored, and it's just like, it's good enough because we're going to change the image next month anyway. Who cares? And it's a shame. It's a shame.
I cringe when I hear the term.
Good enough. Yeah.
Good enough. I cringe.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a backlash. I honestly think so.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I do.
You know, technology front and cameras, you know, we see everybody buying digital, and then obviously, you know, mobile phones get better, and the people that were trying to get into photography that bought DSLRs, now obviously DSLR sales have plummeted, and now people are using their phones more than they are their cameras, which enables the pros to carry on using their pro kit to, you know, carry on with their work. That's what we've.
Well, how do you guys feel about pro cameras versus iPhones or
iPhones? I mean, they're getting so damn good now. But at the end of the day, it's. I think you've got to look at it with the standard they're putting out, as if the operator can use them as a tool successfully. Then it you know, why not? It's a tool. You know, like you were just saying about buying, you know, 120 disposable cameras, granted back in the film day, but I'm sure somebody would still take that approach today if they could, and use a tool of a different type to achieve either a certain look or a certain feel, or you know, something in that direction. Does it matter what tool we use now, especially with digital stuff that is so good?
No, I think what I've noticed, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, Wayne or Jake. I actually became aware of my awareness while I was doing a shoot. And at that moment in time, it was quite the epiphany. I realized I forgot I was holding a camera.
Yes.
I was holding an interface, and it was so strange. At that moment in time, I thought to myself, look at all of the things that are going through your mind at that moment just before you press the shutter. It's immense. Yeah. Once you reach a certain level of competence, all of that information happens almost at the same time. Everything from your lighting to your mixed, everything, the attitude of the model, the feel. Is it honest? Is it capturing the moment, blah, blah, all those things that happen just at the moment you're pressing the shutter. And a great camera is a camera that lets you express in an unencumbered manner where you're not even aware of that.
Yeah, you're holding it. Holding. Yeah.
And I mean, the eventual perfect thing would be you're looking at the person, you kind of blink your eye, and that image is then transcribed to some form of, I don't know, hard drive or something that maybe you won't need a camera in the next 100 years. Maybe you use your eyes. And, maybe you'll have some kind of contact lens in your eyes, and you'll just do something to.
Well, Google Glass started started to do that sort of mentality, wasn't it? Where it's just instant feed from the thing, and and that's can be a bit of a danger. This it's good enough, and because really all we're interested in is how quickly we can get it to source to the consumer, and that those facilities will certainly enable that speed.
Yeah.
What do you guys shoot with? What are you shooting with, Jake?
Nikon D850.
Nice. It's a great camera. And
oh yeah, love it. Yeah, love it. Yeah,
it's incredible. And
you?
I'm using a Holga plastic. I think it's.
I'm still trying to get through those 120 disposable cameras. I've still got some left over. Still got some film left in them.
I have 3 systems. I have a APS-C format. I have 4 XT3 Fuji films, an XH1 and an XT20, and 9 Fujifilm lenses. I have 4 Nikon. I have 2 850s, an A10 and an 800E. And I have 2 GFX-S's and 6 lenses. Yeah. However,
that's a lot of cameras.
On what?
Yeah, I know.
Shoot.
I know. It's no, I don't bring it all the way. No, it's more of
that you can change the memory cards in them. Yeah, these aren't disposable cameers anymore.
Yeah, I know. Someone had to tell me that. I did say in one of my interviews they're just very expensive. Disposable.
I can see you're going through them at that rate. Yeah.
Get good glass because those are going to go. Anyways, regarding Nikon, one of my biggest qualms with DSLRs, regardless of which brand they are, whether they're Canon or Nikon, I guess are the 2 big ones. I would always freak out because I was going through a time where I was kind of doing the good old 80s Hans Führer 300 millimeter 2.8 vibe, where I was on a monopod, and what's great about that, it's kind of like being in a studio.
In the car park on a 300 mm lens.
Because you don't really see anything. So if you wanted a beige tonality, you kind of move your camera over 1 degree, and because you want a beige tonality of the clothing. And so you have a beautiful backdrop of beige and, really nice natural daylight studio. And that's the reason we would shoot that, because the clothing would pop off the page, very 3-dimensional vibe. And so anyways, my point being is this. My biggest freak out was every time I was about to do a shoot, I would have to take my cameras in to Nikon Pro in Paris, and Sebastian was great. I'd call him up and I go, I'm feeling neurotic. He'd go, okay, come on in. So the day before or 2 days before the shoot, he'd say, which lenses are you going to use? I say, I'm going to use the 180 and the 300 and maybe the one for 35 DC for the shoot. It's all being shot outdoors. So I want to make sure they're calibrated. So he would always calibrate them for me. But I did notice that after because I shoot a lot of stuff, Jake, I'd be shooting like 1,500 shots and a lot of vibrations. And even after a shoot, because I was so hung up on focusing on the eye, and getting it, because I was shooting, and I'm shooting in the 5.4 format, which brings the focusing point higher into the frame, because if it weren't for the 4.5 format, I mean, Nikon is really bright about, because 90% of the magazine formats fall within that 4.5 format. You're just cutting a little off the left and the right side of the frame. So you're basically getting the quality of a medium format 30.2 megapixel camera out of the Nikon, or with the 850, you're getting something like 42 or 40 megapixels. But anyways,
so you're changing that in the camera. Before the shoot.
Yes,
yeah.
Because
so you're only shooting that 5.4 aspect ratio,
except one magazine. There are 2 ELLE magazines when I have to decide between 4.5 and 2.3, where it's a little bit more expeditious to shoot 2.3, and I know I'm just bringing down a centimeter on the top and the bottom. So then I'll stay with the 2.3 format. But what bugs me about that is the focusing point is really low on the frame, and I don't like to focus and reframe because my focus is so critical. As soon as I pull it down,
You're changing the plane.
The
for
plane,
sure. Yeah.
okay. And so, what I love about my Fuji films is having 425 focus points is such. I almost started crying with joy. You
You can focus right at the end. Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's difficult to argue with that.
I mean,
it's
insane.
it's such a good. Yeah.
It's because it's mirrorless. There's no calibration required. So here's my point. This is going to sound weird. Even though the XT3 is a 26.1 megapixel APS-C format, because the sharpness is so brutal, and I say brutally sharp. I mean, I can show you a 35 1.4 lens shutter wide open at 1.4, and you'll be gobstruck. And you look at it and you go, why do I...
Sonys are the same. They're crazy.
Yeah, Sonys are the same. Why I didn't go with Sony was just because I was watching this guy, the angry photographer, and he was talking about Fujifilm. I'd never thought of shooting Fujifilm ever. And I saw this this guy doing this diatribe about something, and I thought this is amusing. And he started talking about Fuji, and I went to a store in Paris, and I handled, at that time, I think it was an XT2, and I thought, this is beautiful. I mean, this is such a beautiful piece to handle. It's like a piece of art, ergonomically and everything. So, anyways, my first sojourn into Fujifilm was the XT2. And my first shoot ever with the XT2, I think, was for Style magazine. It was a skateboard story. And I was gobstruck when I got the stuff back. Everything was in focus. And I went, whoa. I mean, everything was as tight and the color was amazing. And
this is on the XT2?
At the time, yes. Then I got the XT3s, and I got the GFX 50s, which I shot for Vogue and the more recent ELLE shoot, ELLE Haute Couture. And it's interesting. I look at the two of them. And this is where you're talking about your vibe, but what is it you want from the look? There is a look. There is a look to the XT3, and there is a look to the GFX. But what I find, I was just looking at it yesterday. I'm thinking, because I was thinking to myself, what am I going to use for my next shoot and why? You know, the truth is, I have no reason. There's no reason. It's because I feel like picking up my XT3. It's so bizarre. It's there's no technical reason, because really think about what 26.1 megapixels represents, and look at what I'm being published in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I used to be published with a Canon 8 megapixel camera on double page spreads in Vogue magazine, and and so.
I remember, shooting a 1D3, which is like 10.1 megapixels, and it was hard to get one of those sharp at the best times.
Well, mine was the Fuji S2. It was 6 megapixels, yeah.
Hey, listen, one of my favorite Fujifilm cameras ever is one I still have, and that's the little point and shoot, 6.1 megapixel Fuji. Is that the one you have? Maybe you're talking about. Great camera. Look, I had one of my images at the Cannes Film Festival on the boardwalk. I'll send it to you a bit later. That was...
Oh, I think I've seen that image. I know the one that you mean.
The big hair.
Is it all laced up on the poles
Yeah,
and stuff?
that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is, get ready for this, 5 by 3.5 meters, 20 by 14 feet.
Yeah.
And that was shot with the 8 megapixel. Yeah. Just remember.
So raw.
No.
So raw.
Jake, look.
I know that's what you were going for.
No, it's super tight, super sharp. Don't forget to look at that image on a billboard. You have to stand back.
Yeah, it's relative, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's only being printed at 60 dpi. Because you walk right up at it, you
see dots. Yeah.
You see dots.
But let's just jump topic a little bit, Ben, because you've got an upcoming project that's going to be quite interesting of you for. Are we allowed to say for which magazine it is?
You're trying to get rid of
No. Okay. I'm just interested in this one because we touched on it yesterday, and then we've remember we still got to discuss a reshoot, that other subject.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So which one should we do first? Should we do the upcoming one that it's going to contain some full frontal and things?
The up and coming
shoot, yeah.
Yes, many. shoots. Yeah. Okay. So I'm shooting for Numero.
Okay, we are allowed to say it. Okay, I wasn't sure if we were allowed to say the mag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they want me. So I'm sure they'll be pleased. I'm shooting for Numero on the 19th. It's going to be the February issue. Yes, for the February issue. And the issue is called Sexuality. Even my wife says, Ben, you're not very good at that.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
So they're okay, interesting. Backing up to Jake's question about how do you cast. This is very different. I am going to open my pitch for the casting for you guys.
Okay.
Read it to you. You're actually
wow. Okay.
Because you're going to want to know what I had to say in the email, which is very important.
And privileged to our listeners to actually, listen to, a real life pitch. What goes on in the real world.
Yeah. And who is this going to be sent out to? Sorry, you're sending this out to agencies?
Yes. I already did. It was all modeling agencies. My pitch goes to New York, London, Milan, Paris, and Madrid. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Fashion shoot.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
This is firsthand stuff. I won't give the name of the person, but this is to elite models. Hello. ... I've been commissioned to shoot a 10 to 14 page fashion story for Numero magazine number 57 for their February 2020 issue. The theme for the issue is in red. I put in red, sexuality. Please beware in red. There will be some see-through and upper torso nudity. We are seeking models with a large Instagram community. There you go, Jake. There will also be a 1-minute Instagram video as well. Shoot date, November 19th. Location, hotel. I won't give it away right now. We have it. Model, because I'll have an audience. Okay. Model, one female only. Photographer, my name. Video director, stylist Sophie Clausel. Hair, makeup to be determined. Please send us your recommendations. Find below the mood board. And we sent them a mood board. If I send you one now, will you be able to see it?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
I'm going to send it to you.
If you post it in the Skype one.
I'm going to do it right now. Hang on. You'll have
where have you posted it?
You can open it. I sent it to your email address.
MySpace.
MySpace.
Whilst we're waiting for that to come through, what drew you to Paris? Like, obviously, you're working in some of the top cities in the world, like LA and New York.
No, LA is not. No,
what drew
take
you?
that back, please. I'm going to hang up now.
We do have some LA listeners, so I'm not going to take it back, but you can
come through.
Fashion are an oxymoron. Okay, no, LA is not fashion. There you go.
Yeah,
you have it.
I've got it. Are
you going to send it to Jake as well?
I was going to send it to Jake now.
Can you put it in
several
the
pages,
Skype
mate?
chat?
Yeah.
That's a PDF. Oh, come on,
mood
Jake.
board,
It's
man.
a mood
It's not
board.
a single image.
It's not. It's
All right. I thought it was just an inspirational, it's just an Instagram shot or something.
It's not your CD, Jake.
There's a back of a fag packet here. We can put that on.
Send it to your email. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11
this
pages.
better be worth the wait, man.
11
This
pages.
better be worth the wait. 11 pages?
Well, because we're showing samples as well of the clothing we're going to use. You wanted
Real
to
mood
learn,
boards,
right?
Jake. Real
you
mood
want to
boards.
learn?
Wow.
Great mood board.
But you get the feeling.
You certainly get it. And I think that's the important thing. I mean, I know our listeners can't see any of this, but that's the one important thing you've just said there is you get the feeling. It's the feeling that you get from these images. And that's what's important outside of all this our technical equipment, isn't it? Getting the feeling for the look and the mood of a shoot.
The way you said that. On the lips. No tongue.
Damn it, where's that soap?
Jake, did you get it?
Well, I'm opening up my emails now, but I believe you. I trust Wayne's opinion, and I bet it's a beautiful,
last words.
beautiful mood board.
Famous last words.
That's a lot of different styles
Now,
to me.
here's the ballsy part of it. Because it's sexuality, I didn't want to be flagrant. I wanted it to be done kind of in a Guy Bourdin
Yeah, you can see that.
vibe. Her showing her ass is kind of cool. The way she's doing it, it feels right. None of them really feel obscene. I'm really excited about the shoot. I will be shooting it at an iconic Parisian hotel that has had the guests of Gary Cooper and Marlene Dietrich, and you do your homework. You know what it is right away. So they're going to provide for us a major suite, several rooms. We can talk about how I plan on lighting it if you like, but I can get into more details about that. It's going to be a real pot puree. There's a reason for that. As you can see from the imagery, I'm very pleased with our stylist. Yeah. She's great. She does a lot of research. It's going to be a wonderful shoot, and the film is going to be great. It should be. We have 2 films we have to do. One is just a snippet, 10-second film as a teaser, and then a 1 minute or 1 minute Instagram friendly.
And who's your stylist for this one, Ben?
For this one, Sophie Clauzel. Clauzel. You can look her up in Google. We did my last haute couture shoot on my Instagram. At the very top left is her. She did my styling for the haute couture. She also styled my special Stan Lee comic book graffiti on the back wall story. You'll see there's a graffiti shoot we did in the 10th arrondissement in Paris. And she's good. I mean, you use a stylist because they have a style, you know? And but we're really rough on stylists. We're really difficult because, you know, when you shoot haute couture, it's like cherries on top of cream, on top of chocolate, on top. I mean, we're sick of that shit. So the last time we did a shoot, we thought, fuck it. We're shooting a $250,000 Victor and Rolf dress. I want her wearing a pair of black and white Converse sneakers or barefoot. So we are one of our more recent shoots. We had her wearing Converse or Doc Mart. One of the shoots we did called I Do for Harpers Bazaar was all shot in white Doc Martens. But we're talking really white Doc Marten boots. You don't want to go to it? You don't want to get Jake's laughing. Okay, Jake, shall I fuck off now?
We're going to have to release this podcast as a season. This will be Podlemania season 17. It'll literally be the Benjamin
Kanarek season. I gotta say a trend coming there, Jake.
Season.
Why? How long have we been talking for?
We've been talking for 2 hours.
2 hours? Honestly, no. It's great. It's great content.
Can I order you guys a pizza?
Oh, donut. Yeah. That would be amazing.
Man,
right
now we're talking.
Yeah, that would be so good. I tell you what. Let's get into. I mean, we've got to talk about the reshoot. Let's talk about the reshoot, Ben, because you and I spoke about it briefly yesterday. Obviously, Jake's not aware of this because obviously he wasn't part of the conversation yesterday.
Wayne, you know,
I know. Yeah, but
yesterday.
I'm glad we didn't.
Well, no, I am, because think about it. That is the difference between shooting from the hip on the street.
Yeah.
What we were doing yesterday. You know what I'm saying? That would be the analogy. You know, it was like there was no.
Yeah, but the thing is, the good thing is,
it was just.
This is you formally.
But the good thing is, Ben.
Just for clarity.
Jake, you want some numbers? I'll give you numbers. Jake, you want light ratios?
Yeah.
I'll give you all that shit. If it
I don't know. I haven't taken my light meter out in years. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
No, I actually just bought a light meter.
Oh, okay.
I actually did.
Let's do the reshoot, because this is a bit of a funny story as well, isn't it? Just a little bit, maybe.
Okay. There was a photographer who was shooting for US Vogue all the time. I mean, star. He did the famous shoot with Marilyn Monroe called The Last Sitting. And his name was Bert Stern. Okay. And Bert Stern was on the same level as Irving Penn, Richard Avedon, in that kind of a major shooter. And he, multimillionaire, shooting all the big clients. Now, I had just been shooting for 4 years. I had just moved to New York, and I had just gotten the cover of the New York Times Fashion. I did a shoot that was all gels. It was like using my patented lighting, which is with the Library of Congress, which you saw in my fourth image on Instagram, which was an accident. Anyways, I did a cover which was all these gels and stuff. And apparently Stephen Meisel was really pissed that I got the cover because the art director called me and said, oh, sorry, I'm segueing into another story. Let's get back to Bert Stern. Sorry.
Honestly. Bloody creatives, man.
Oh, no, let's get back to Bert Stern. So, Michael, hold on. Michael, I'm going to send you this after it's done. Michael Arprigliano, the art director. Hi, how you doing? I'm sending my love to you from Paris. So I had only been in New York for, I think, 6 weeks. And I was living on 349 East 58th Street, right next to the Queensboro Bridge. I was living in a duplex. It was amazing. The classic way of doing it in those days was you hit the streets. You would go to the ad agencies. That's right, which I loved. And I'd have my portfolio and I have a composite with maybe 5 or 6 images, blah, 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 blah. So I get a call at 10 in the evening during a weekday. And you hear a real frenetic voice at the other end going, Hey, Benjamin. I said, yeah, who's this? Michael Aprigliano. I got to see you right away. I said, what's wrong? He said, I got to see you right away. I said, yeah, okay, cool. He comes to my apartment with an art buyer, this girl, okay? Now, you imagine the scene. I'm sitting on this L-shaped couch. He's sitting next to the girl. I'm on the opposite side, about 90 degrees to him, sorry. And he says, Ben, we have a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, I want to show you something, and I want your honest opinion. There's no a priori. I said, okay, show it to me. He pulls out a 6x6 image, and he says, Benjamin, I want your honest opinion. What do you think of this image? So I look at the image, and it's an image of a gray seamless with a little squiggly, I kid you not, the squiggly light in the background maybe took up about 10% of the background, not 8%, a little squiggly, mousy, wormy thing, and a girl in the middle. So you're looking at, it's just really flat. And I look at Michael, and I'm really thinking about this before I say it. I said, Michael, do you want me to kiss your ass, or you want my real opinion? I said, Ben, you got to tell me the truth. What do you think? I said, honestly, it looks like a first-year photography school student who just started about a week ago. He looks at his art buyer and he starts speaking at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Okay, we got it. We can't continue. We've been shooting for 6 days now. It's costing us a fortune. We've got to stop. Listen closely. Oh, we can't continue. It's crazy. We already put $250,000 into this project. We can't continue like this. It's insane. We've got to drop Bert. And I look at them.
Do we need to be redacting this name? Or?
Okay. No. It's common knowledge. I've done it. And we've got to drop Bert. Okay. And I look at them, and I my fucking throat has hit my stomach. And I look at them. I go, listen closely. Burt Reynolds.
Oh no! Oh my God, that's priceless.
That's what I said.
Savage to the throat. Savage.
And he said, "No, Ben, Bert Stern." And the first words out of my mouth are, "No fucking way." I am Reynolds. Not. Ben, you have to. Please, you have to. We love your work. We have to. The client loves your work. We have to. We'll give you any you want. I said, I'm not going to reshoot. I'm actually feeling it as I'm saying it now. I swear. My empathy is so profound. I will not reshoot for Bert Stern. There's no way. He said, Ben, please, I beg of you. I said, does Bert know anything about this?
Yeah.
No. He says, I have to make a call. His agent is waiting. I said, does Bert have another gig lined up? He says, yeah, if we drop him, he will be shooting for New York Times or he's doing some kind of portrait of a check. This is a true story. This is incredible. I said, when would I have to start? The studio was on Broadway and 19th. Okay, let's check this out. Now, I had an assistant in LA, because I was in LA before New York. His name was John Nishinsky. Hi, John. I love the guy. John Nishinsky. I needed my assistant. I needed him. He knew my lighting. He knew everything. I could just blink. He'd know what So I said, if I can get my assistant, he said, where is he? L.A., 6 p.m. in L.A., 6 p.m. He said, I called John. I said, John, can you be on a plane tonight for New York? He goes, hey, dude. He was a real surfer. Hey, dude. Yeah, sure. He goes, gnarly. He goes, okay, so John's coming. Okay, check this out. This is crazy shit. Okay, so I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I won't tell you how much I made, but it was like a small fortune.
Wow.
I bought an apartment. But it was insane money. It was for, anyways, it was, we had Elle McPherson.
This is after they'd already spent $250,000 before they even
spent
came
over
to you.
$250,000. Check this out. Elle McPherson,
Yeah.
Andy McDowell, Brooke Shields, just goes on and all the who's who, okay? They were there. I'll tell you the Andy story. It was really fun. She just finished doing Greenstoke. Anyways, Greystoke, sorry. So
Any color. Choose a color.
So check this out. In the morning at 7 a.m., we had to start ordering backdrops. Had backdrops. I had my lighting, my crazy lighting, and I was shooting with a Nikon FM2 and a Tokina 70 to 210 lens for the whole shoot. Anyways, it's
What year are we talking about?
84.
Okay. So we're going,
84.
okay, yeah.
Okay, so check this out. Around noonish, a guy walks into the studio, and on this set there were probably 30 people. It was a huge prod. So a guy walks up to me. I go, "May I help you?" He says, "Yeah, you Benjamin Kanarek?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, okay. Do you mind if someone comes in? Bert Stern wants to talk to you."
On set, on the day.
Listen to me. Bert Stern was shooting in the next studio.
Oh, my God.
It was his birthday.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
So Bert Stern walks in with a piece of cake for me. And I look at him. He says,
Smashes it in your face.
Really handsome guy. No, not at all. He looked like Paul Newman. Really short, really handsome guy. He walks up to me, and I literally say, "Bert, I swear, Bert, I swear I had nothing to do with it. I swear." No. And listen, I swear I had nothing to do with it. And he put his hand out. He said, "Don't worry about it, kid. It'll happen to you one day." And he hands me the cake, and I go, "Happy birthday, Bert." And I gave him a huge hug, and he went back to do his shoot. And, that was it. I mean, it was like the Bert Stern story. I mean, this is, man, it was just amazing.
What a guy, yeah. I mean, and he's right. It happens to the best of us,
Oh, it did happen to me.
There you go. Yeah.
No, I reshot. No, I reshot myself. Let me tell you.
I hope you gave yourself a piece of cake.
I have another story. Live and learn, you guys. There's a woman named Mary José Amer Jaloux, who is the owner of all of the L'Officiels around the world. And I was shooting a lot for them. And I did a shoot in a dilapidated industrial building in Paris that used to be the Citroën factory. It was in the process of being ripped down. So I wanted that really industrial, broken windows, glass, light pouring down through the ceilings. It was all natural light. So I was shooting black and white at like 1600 ISO. I was kind of a big hit at L'Officiel. My shit didn't stink. Anything I shot.
I was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I was because I could do anything I wanted, and they just loved everything.
Great.
Up until this moment. So I had done the shoot, and I was with my agent at the time, Jordan L. Gravely. And now Mary José was very pensive, very quiet, very intense. And she had this huge office with a huge desk with light boxes everywhere. She was a real editor-in-chief. And we had done the prints, the proofs. And I was walking into that office like the victor. Like I thought, she is going to start crying with joy, and she will give me accolades, and there will be champagne and all of the other things, and blah, 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 blah. So I walk into the office. There she is. I'm with George. Said, Ben, sit down. And I start pulling out the images. And I pull out one image, and I see her tongue pushing on the inside of her cheek, kind of.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. I like it.
She's rolling the tongue around the inside of her cheek. She hasn't said a word. I pass her another image. She looks at it. On the third image, she looks up to me, drops her head, and she says, "You know, Benjamin, when I look at these images, I'm thinking, yeah. What are you gonna say? I want to vomit.
Wow.
I feel sick to my stomach. I am depressed. I want to shoot myself."
Oh my God. I mean, it's not everybody that can take that sort of feedback.
Hold on.
Wow.
And so I look at her. I said, "You're joking."
Tell me what you really feel.
Yeah. Jeez.
I said, "You're joking, right?" Because I was starting to shake. I was shaking. You don't often do a 180. You can do a 90 or a 45. But when in your mind's eye, you've produced what you think is the best work you've done up to that point in time, which I felt at the time was the case.
Oh, wow. So you weren't even like, oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
hope
Jake,
this goes crossed.
I was really taken aback.
Wow.
And I said, "You're joking." He said, "I'm not joking."
Holy shit. And
I said, "Hold on." In those days, I took all the images. I literally threw them at her. I said, "Go fuck yourself." And I walked out of her office. And my poor agent was chasing behind me.
Oh my Christ.
He's running. Oh, it's not done. He's running behind me. This is something I will write in my book. He's running behind me.
We've already recorded it now, so don't worry about
we'll
it.
transcribe it.
He's running behind me, and then he comes up in front of me and goes, "What'd you just do?" I said, "Go fuck." and
one of those days.
And I feel a hand on my shoulder. I don't want to start crying because it's going to get me. I feel a hand on my shoulder and a grip, and I swing around. I look down. It's Mary José. Mary José. She said, "Benjamin, come back to the office. I really want to talk to you." What a learning experience. Oh boy, I'm getting emotional. She sits me down and she takes a piece of paper and she draws a line on the piece of paper in the center of the paper, a line across it. She does the following. She draws one line below it, way below it. She goes, styling, location, attitude, model, lighting, and some other thing. And it is literally just 3 or 4 millimeters above and over the line of acceptability for her, which was really vast. Right. She said to me, "Ben, just pull back one step. Will you do that for me? Will you reshoot for me?" And I said, and I was literally, for me, it was one of my greatest epiphanies in humanity. I mean, she could have just, you know what I mean? She could have just ripped me off. She believed in me.
Absolutely.
So you know what happened? As a result of that, we found an abandoned apartment that hadn't been occupied since 1938.
Really?
And in the middle of that apartment were piles of books that went as high as 6 feet.
Wow.
With wall covering that was ripped down, with wallpaper that was ripped, but all original, and all the staining. So we shot it in that space, which
what a find! Wow.
Yes, and we shot it there, and I'll send you the images later. You can see.
Please do. Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Yes, and it was a success, and it all worked out for the best. And
what was different between those two shoots then?
I think that the fact that the apartment was more contained, it felt more Parisian.
Okay.
It wasn't as the word she used, it wasn't as destroy.
Okay.
Destroy is the word they used in French. Like didn't look as destructive.
Yeah.
That it, for her, and to be quite honest, I've discussed this with Anne de Vertami, the fashion editor at the time, and it was an amazing moment for me. It was a real epiphany. I love those experiences. They're very rare where you you really learn something profound, like Jacques-Michel Verger saying, if you think you're in too close, come in closer. I mean, that's a class. Oh, here, I'm going to send this to you right now on your Instagram. Yeah, you have to see the shot. You'll understand right away once you see this. Okay, here goes. You ready? Here comes. It's a coming. It's a coming. It's coming. And now paste. There you go. It's to your Instagram. Now have a look at this image. It's I just sent it to you on your Instagram messages. That's Terry Priest, an amazing model, and that's the environment. And maybe I can send it to Jake. I promise I won't stalk you, okay?
It's all right. Wayne keeps sending me videos in the middle of the night. Don't worry about it. I'm used to it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Yeah, see it.
That's one of the shots.
Gorgeous.
I sent it to you, Jake.
Thank you. I'll have a look. Oh, okay.
So that was an interesting story as well, something I learned from. But I mean, we could go. There are so many stories about when I fired a model on the set.
We'll definitely have to save that for another episode. Sorry, another series.
You saw Jake?
I am looking at it. Yeah, beautiful. I mean, it's incredible to think that place existed. I don't even know how you managed to find it, but yeah, absolutely incredible. Yeah, bizarre. What a bizarre.
It was a family. Well, it was like the church in the middle of the forest that burned down, and it was totally intact except for the roof. So it was a natural daylight studio in the middle of a forest. There are all kinds of. In terms of my gear, I'm kind of like stuck on Fujifilm right now because I don't want to calibrate my
cameras
anymore. And I know, Wayne, you use Fuji.
I'm a Fuji shooter. Yeah. For about 5 years now. Yeah, maybe just over. Yeah.
Where did you come from?
Canon originally. Canon, and I was Hasselblad medium format and Leica medium format, the S2s. So
nice.
I came over from those guys on the medium format and Canon on the DSLR. Yeah. But worked for me commercially. To just working brilliant, which can't fault them. And like you say, don't feel like I need to change brands or look anywhere else at the moment. It just doesn't feel like you've got it in hand half the time. So that's the important bit.
Are you going to get the GFX 100?
I do shoot it already. I'm demoing that one next week, actually, in Glasgow over here in the UK, and then Copenhagen after that. So, I was part of the demo team on that one, sort of pre-production. So, yeah, it's fantastic. Have you shot it yourself yet?
Nope.
Oh, it's like shooting a GFX 50 that's nearly as quick and responsive as an XT3.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Completely different. Yeah. About the same size as a Canon 1DX Mark II or a Nikon D5, body-wise and styling. But yeah, phase detection, focus is quick as hell on it and so easy to shoot. Yeah, too easy to shoot too many pictures.
Well, that's nice.
And also you got the 5-axis stabilization in it. But beautiful. Yeah. I love that damn thing apart from the file size. It's huge.
That's what she said about me last.
We did so well. Oh, no. We did so well.
Where's Jake's face? I want to see Jake's face. I love Jake's face. It's so like you never know what he's really thinking.
I think they call that being British, but that's fine. Yeah.
And Jake, what are you doing? Are you doing workshops, right?
Yeah. So I've just done a couple the last couple of weeks using projectors and stuff, which has been great. Yeah, and gel. So it's like really on the creative side of things. It's been a huge fun recently. Yeah, playing with different ways of lighting and that sort of thing has been awesome.
I love projectors. I love projectors.
Yeah.
Are you backlighting the projectors, or are you projecting directly onto the backdrop?
Both. Yeah. So rear projection as well as the old Hollywood style of reflecting and then straight onto them as well. So we did a lot of big sets with them, and it is like the old Hollywood setups they used to do for cinema. It's been a lot of fun.
Hollywood grids.
Yeah, unfortunately, the setups do require quite a bit of space. But yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
The only problem with complex lighting for me, which I always did, is the time it takes. And you could only expect to do 4 to 6 images in a day. And so.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Are we done?
Yeah, we are, man. Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Let's just close the show off because we've got a couple of things to say just to close the show off, Ben. And we've got so much to say for, so many more episodes with you, Ben. It's unreal. So much more to do with you.
Well, I'll send you guys. You know what I'll do for you? If you like, I'll send you a behind the scenes. I'll send you some behind the scenes stuff from our Numero shoot.
Cool.
And if you want to talk about, if you want to talk about that, or I have a shoot coming up for Vogue, of course, and ELLE, again, I have the haute couture coming up, and we can chat about those things if you like, if you want to be more specific.
That'd be amazing. And you're not too far from us, so maybe we come over and we do a live recording in the room rather than over Skype. How about that? And then they can have a glass of wine at the same time.
Will there be a happy ending?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Jake.
That might cost extra.
Oh, that's going into 1 minute.
For you, Ben, for you.
That's going into 1 minute teaser for sure.
Well, I do like your eyes.
I thought it was my hair. I washed this especially for you.
Okay, man. Well, I'll tell you what.
On that ending,
let's wrap this up, and then we can continue chatting. But
yes, sir.
Okay, Ben. Before we go, here's one last question that we ask all our guests, and that is: here we ask you to personally recommend 2 artists from either the photographic or video world, and we mean as in stylists, models, makeup artists, art directors, retouchers, whatever you want it to be. We ask you to recommend 2 artists to come on to Podlemania to do a podcast with us.
Wow.
You don't have to do it live on air. You don't have to do it live in recording on this one, but we ask you to get in touch with them, obviously, because you know them and we don't, and put their names forward to us and let them know that obviously we're going to drop them a line and get them on to do an episode like you've done with us.
Well, that would be great. What do you prefer? Do you want a stylist, hair, makeup artist?
It's completely. We leave this completely your choice and your selection.
Okay.
Just to be one of your one of your choices or 2 of your choices. Sorry.
Why don't you interview my wife, who's she won a silver award for best fashion video for. I don't know. Well, let's leave.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you ponder on that anyway, because you might. Because we asked.
You've said it now, though. Like the audience are going to be expecting that.
Why don't we interview? Wait a second. Why don't we interview Wayne John?
You could do that.
Might be a short interview, that one.
This is a teaser.
Yeah, might be
the Wayne Johns teaser.
A teaser into the life you could have had, like Ben Kanarek.
Love it.
Wait, didn't I see your name? I went into this kind of like sleazy bar in Pigalle, and it said
in the bathroom.
In the toilet.
Yeah,
it said for a good time, Cole.
Oh,
yeah,
guys.
Okay, Ben. Before we go, where can our audience find you? Your social media, your websites, and things like that. Where can they find you?
Okay, so. I thought you already did that.
Comes near the end. Obviously, I've got it in front of me if you need any help.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I have a lot of stuff, man. Okay, my official website is benjaminkanarek.com.
Yep.
Can you spell that for us, please?
So it's BENJAMINKAN like Norma AREK.com. My blog is thebkmag.com. My Instagram is just Benjamin Kanarek.
We didn't even get to talk about your blog. I wanted to do that, but we'll have to do it another time. Yeah.
Yeah, and my YouTube channel is just Benjamin Kanarek. My
Twitter the same.
Yeah. And Facebook, just look for me. You just put a Google search Benjamin Kanarek. You'll see I'm wanted by Interpol in the 7th.
Honestly, you put Benjamin Kanarek in YouTube and he comes up absolutely everywhere.
There's a reason why he hasn't got his camera turned on today. Yeah.
There's no reason you shouldn't tell the people about our little sojourn.
Exactly.
In that Turkish.
No, I just didn't. I just want to see the prison cell behind you. That's it. That's fine.
In that Turkish sauna in Cornwall.
Oh my god! Right, come on. Let's wrap this up. You've said too much.
Okay, I'm going to close a closing statement on this one.
Yeah. Okay. So, Nick, same hotel, same room tonight as usual. Or?
I don't know who this Nick guy is, but you've definitely let the cat out of the bag now.
That's the pseudonym.
Nick. Yeah. Sorry. Of course. Yeah.
Remember, guys, thanks for listening to this amazingly fun episode that we're going to have.
If you've made it this far, congratulations.
A whole series too. This has been awesome, and I think we need to continue this as its own series, Jake. This would be amazing. And remember, folks, we also have a support page over on patreon.com/Podlemania. So if you'd like to help us to produce and record even more great interviews like this, and
Jake's face,
and
you should see Jake.
And content for your ears with some of the world's greatest creative talents even. Your support is very much appreciated. And remember to stay up to date and be the first to know about all new episodes on all things creative from the photography and video world. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast at www.podlemania.com/subscribe. And if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and podlemania.com. And please give us a like and don't forget to comment. That said, man, Ben, I just want to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ben.
And the biggest,
it's been great.
Massive thank you for coming on and sharing just a tiny bit of your life, which I'm sure we're going to hear some more of at a later date. But for all our listeners, we'll catch you in the next episode. Ben?
Take care, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Mr. Wayne. Or can I call you John Wayne?
No. Yeah, you can call me John Wayne, yeah.